There is a technology that has been sitting in physics laboratories for decades, surrounded by academic papers and theoretical promises, completely ignored by the mainstream defense procurement world. And then, inside a single 12-month window spanning 2025 and 2026, the most powerful military organization in human history decided it could no longer afford to wait. DARPA wrote a check. Lockheed Martin signed on as a partner. The Pentagon inserted it into binding executive orders. The Defense Science Board declared it poised for mission use right now, not in a decade, right now. An Australian startup flew a quantum sensor on a naval vessel in open ocean conditions, in real operational turbulence, and posted results that outperformed the most advanced classical navigation system by 111 times when GPS was unavailable, 111 times better, on a moving ship, in the real world, not a laboratory, not a simulation, the ocean. That result is why the Pentagon is watching this quantum breakthrough. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what is at stake, why the timing is critical, and why the country that fields this technology first does not just win an advantage, it eliminates the foundation that an entire category of adversary military strategy is built on. The breakthrough the Pentagon is watching is quantum sensing, not quantum computing, not quantum cryptography. Quantum sensing, the application of quantum mechanical principles to the measurement of physical signals with precision that every classical technology on Earth cannot match. And the specific version of quantum sensing that has the Pentagon's most urgent attention is quantum inertial navigation, the ability to track position, velocity, and orientation with extraordinary accuracy using the quantum behavior of atoms, requiring no GPS signal, no satellite connection, no external reference of any kind that an adversary can jam, spoof, or destroy. To understand why this is the quantum breakthrough that matters most to the military right now, more urgently than quantum computers, more immediately than quantum communications, you have to understand the single most critical vulnerability in American military power, one that every defense strategist has known about for 30 years and has never been able to fully solve. Like and subscribe right now, because this vulnerability is not theoretical. It is being actively exploited in every conflict zone on Earth today. GPS is the backbone of modern military operations. Every precision-guided weapon system that America deploys, from the Joint Direct Attack munition that guides bombs to specific coordinates, to the Tomahawk cruise missile that navigates through urban terrain at subsonic speed, to the artillery shells corrected by GPS, to within meters of their target, depends on positioning signals transmitted from satellites, orbiting 12,550 miles above the Earth. Every coordinated maneuver between ground forces, close air support, naval vessels, and special operations units depends on shared GPS-derived position data to avoid fratricide and execute synchronized movement. Every unmanned aerial vehicle that conducts reconnaissance or delivers munitions relies on GPS for navigation and targeting. The entire kill chain of modern American warfare, from identification of target to delivery of effect, is threaded through GPS at multiple critical nodes. And GPS, for all its extraordinary engineering, has one fundamental physical vulnerability that cannot be engineered away. Its signals are extraordinarily weak. A GPS satellite transmits at approximately 50 watts of power from 12,550 miles away. By the time that signal reaches the Earth's surface, it is spread across an area so vast that its power density is roughly equivalent to the light reaching you from a 25-watt light bulb viewed from 10,000 miles away. Any sufficiently powerful radio frequency transmitter pointed at the right frequency in the right direction can overwhelm that signal with noise, rendering GPS receivers unable to acquire a lock. This is called jamming, and it requires no advanced technology. It requires a transmitter, a power source, and the right frequency. Russia has been deploying large-scale GPS jamming systems since at least 2014, when the disruption of GPS signals over eastern Ukraine was first extensively documented. China has invested in GPS jamming and spoofing as a cornerstone of its anti-access and area denial strategy in the Pacific. In August 2025, a flight carrying European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen encountered GPS interference over Bulgaria, severe enough to trigger security alerts across European defense circles. GPS jamming is not a future threat that military planners need to hedge against. It is a present reality, active in conflict zones across the world, that every American weapon system and every American warfighter currently has no reliable answer to. Like and subscribe, because what Q-Cutterell flew on that naval vessel is the answer. Q-Cutterell is a quantum infrastructure software company headquartered in Sydney, Australia, founded by Michael Bierkuck, a physicist who spent years studying quantum systems at the University of Sydney and then made a decision that changed the company's trajectory. He decided that the greatest unsolved problem in making quantum technology useful was not the physics. The physics was understood, The greatest unsolved problem was noise. Every quantum sensor, every quantum computer, every quantum system of any kind operates in an environment full of electromagnetic interference, mechanical vibration, temperature fluctuations, and 1,000 other physical disturbances that degrade quantum coherence and reduce the precision of quantum measurements. Classical sensors deal with noise through physical shielding. You put the sensitive components in a box, isolate them from vibration, control the temperature, minimize electromagnetic interference. This works adequately for laboratory instruments. It is catastrophically impractical for a navigation sensor that needs to operate inside a jet aircraft pulling high G turns, or on a naval vessel riding through ocean swells, or inside a ground vehicle moving over rough terrain. Q-Ketrel's foundational innovation is using software to do what physical shielding cannot. Their approach, which they call software-ruggedization, uses AI-driven quantum control algorithms to continuously suppress the noise that degrades quantum sensor performance, not by blocking the noise physically, but by mathematically compensating for it in real time, maintaining the quantum coherence of the sensor even as the platform around it is vibrating, accelerating, pitching, and rolling. The result is a quantum sensor that can operate on real military platforms in real operational environments, without the laboratory-grade isolation that every previous quantum sensing system required. Like and subscribe, because what Q-Ketrel demonstrated when they tested this technology on a Royal Australian naval vessel is the moment the breakthrough became real. The system QTRL tested is called Ironstone Opal, a quantum-assured navigation system that uses the quantum mechanical behavior of atoms cooled and trapped by lasers to measure inertial forces with extraordinary precision. When you cool atoms to near absolute zero and release them in a controlled quantum state, they behave as matter waves, exhibiting interference patterns that shift in ways that precisely encode information about the forces acting on them. By measuring those interference patterns, a quantum inertial navigation system can calculate accelerations and rotation rates with a precision that the mechanical gyroscopes and accelerometers in classical inertial navigation systems cannot approach. The classical inertial navigation systems currently deployed across American military platforms are excellent engineering achievements, but they drift. Every classical inertial navigation system accumulates small errors in its estimate of position over time, as tiny imperfections in its accelerometers and gyroscopes integrate into growing positional uncertainty. A military aircraft flying for 2 hours on classical inertial navigation, with GPS unavailable, can accumulate miles of positional error. That accumulated error is the difference between a precision weapon hitting its target and landing in a civilian area. It is the difference between a strike package arriving at the rendezvous point and arriving in the wrong coordinates. In a contested environment where an adversary has jammed GPS across an entire theater of operations, accumulated inertial navigation error is not an inconvenience. It is a mission-ending, potentially catastrophic failure mode. Quantum inertial navigation does not eliminate drift entirely. No physical system does. But the drift rate of a well-engineered quantum inertial system is orders of magnitude lower than any classical. Alternative. When Q-Ketrel flew Ironstone Opal on the Royal Australian naval vessel MV Sycamore in open ocean conditions, with real sea state turbulence, real electromagnetic environment, real mechanical vibration from the ship's propulsion, the quantum navigation system achieved up to 111 times greater positioning accuracy than a high-end classical inertial navigation system operating alongside it with GPS denied. 111 times. On a moving naval vessel, in the ocean. Like and subscribe, because the day you can tell a ship's navigator or an aircraft pilot or a ground force commander that their navigation system performs 111 times better when GPS is gone, you have changed the equation of warfare in GPS-denied environments in a way that every adversary military strategy built around GPS jamming has to be completely rethought around. DARPA saw those results and moved. On August 27, 2025, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency awarded Q-Ketrel contracts valued at $24.4 million under its Robust Quantum Sensors program, known as ROQS. Lockheed Martin, the largest defense contractor in the United States and one of the foremost experts in GPS technology anywhere on Earth, signed on as a subcontractor. The partnership is architecturally significant. Lockheed Martin has decades of experience in navigation systems, GPS integration, and the engineering requirements of quantum technology integration into defense platforms. When Lockheed Martin decides that a quantum sensing company is worth partnering with on a DARPA program, it is not making a bet on a laboratory demonstration. It is making an engineering assessment that the technology has crossed a threshold where the path from laboratory to fielded system is navigable with the right industrial partners. ROQS was established by DARPA specifically to accelerate the development, testing, and validation of quantum sensors for real-world defense applications. with an explicit focus on maintaining sensor performance under conditions of mechanical vibration, electromagnetic interference, and platform-induced motion. That mandate exists because those are precisely the conditions that every previous generation of quantum sensing technology failed to handle. Qubits' software ruggedization approach addresses all three. Like and subscribe, because this is the reason DARPA moved. Not just the 111 times accuracy figure, but the fact that the technology works in the conditions where military navigation systems actually have to operate. The broader context of military investment in quantum sensing makes the significance of the DARPA Qubits Award impossible to overstate. The 2025 Defense Intelligence Assessment's Worldwide Threat Assessment, an authoritative document that summarizes the intelligence community's evaluation of global threats, noted specifically that China and Russia are expanding quantum communication networks while investing in quantum magnetometers, gravimeters, and inertial navigation systems, and that these investments are developing operational tools to find, track, and target previously invisible weapon systems. The phrase previously invisible is the critical one. Stealth aircraft and submarines are not invisible in any optical or acoustic sense. They are invisible to the specific detection technologies their adversaries currently deploy. Radar, acoustic sensors, thermal imaging. Their operational value depends entirely on their continued invisibility to those specific detection modalities. Quantum sensing threatens that invisibility in two independent ways. A quantum magnetometer, sensitive enough to detect the magnetic signature of a submarine hull, can find a ballistic missile. Submarine, the cornerstone of nuclear deterrence, at ranges where classical magnetic anomaly detection systems are completely blind. A quantum gravimeter, sensitive enough to detect density variations in the Earth, can find underground facilities, submarine tunnels, and hardened structures that satellite imagery and signals intelligence cannot penetrate. The Center for Strategic and International Studies stated directly in a November 2025 analysis that the first country to operationalize quantum sensing for defense applications will eliminate the comparative advantage of submarines and stealth aircraft, reshaping strategic competition in ways that will take decades to rebalance. Like and subscribe, because that statement is not an exaggeration. It is a sober strategic assessment from one of the most respected defense policy institutions in Washington. The submarine case deserves specific attention because it illustrates how completely quantum sensing can upend a strategic balance that has existed for 70 years. The nuclear-armed submarine is the most survivable leg of the nuclear triad. It is survivable precisely because submarines are extraordinarily difficult to find. Acoustic detection requires proximity, radar cannot penetrate seawater, thermal signatures dissipate rapidly, and satellite imagery only shows what is on the surface. A ballistic missile submarine can hide in the vastness of the ocean, undetectable, capable of delivering a nuclear response to any first strike against land-based forces. This survivability is the foundation of second strike deterrence. If an adversary cannot be certain of destroying all submarine-based nuclear weapons in a first strike, the cost of the first strike becomes unacceptable. The submarine's invisibility is not just a tactical advantage. It is the physical mechanism by which nuclear deterrence has functioned since the 1960s. A quantum magnetometer of sufficient sensitivity, deployed from an aircraft or a surface vessel or a fixed seabed sensor array, could track submarine magnetic signatures at ranges where no classical sensor can operate. It would not need to be perfect. It would not need to track every submarine everywhere. It would need only to narrow the uncertainty enough that first strike planners could calculate improved probability of destroying an adversary's submarine-based deterrent. The moment that calculation changes, the strategic logic of nuclear deterrence changes with it. Like and subscribe, because this is why the Pentagon's interest in quantum sensing is not about navigation alone. It is about whether the most fundamental assumption of nuclear strategy remains valid in a world with operationalized quantum sensing. The Defense Science Board concluded in its assessment for Congress that quantum sensing is the most mature military application of quantum technologies and is currently poised for mission use. That assessment was reflected in the June 2026 executive orders, which directed the Pentagon to identify at least 3 next-generation quantum sensor projects and field. Then by September 30th, 2028. Not to prototype, not to develop, to field. The distinction matters enormously. A fielded military system is one that has cleared operational testing, survived the procurement bureaucracy, been integrated into platform architectures, and been delivered to operational units. Getting from laboratory demonstration to fielded military capability typically takes 7 to 15 years in the American procurement system. The executive order gave it 2 years. That timeline is achievable only if the technology is as mature as the Defense Science Board says it is, and only if the procurement pathway bypasses the standard acquisition process through the kind of emergency authority that presidential executive orders can provide. DARPA's assessment, Lockheed Martin's partnership commitment, and the executive order's 2028 fielding deadline are three independent signals from three different parts of the American defense establishment converging on the same conclusion. Quantum navigation. Sensing is ready, the adversary threat is real, and the time available to deploy it before peer adversaries operationalize their own versions is running out. Like and subscribe, because the CSS analysis described China testing seabed sensors to track submarines, and Russia building quantum navigation specifically to counter electronic warfare. The race is not hypothetical, it is active, and the country that gets there first does not gain an edge. It gains the ability to find, track, and target systems that its adversary currently considers invulnerable. The commercial implications of this breakthrough follow the military development with a lag of roughly 5 to 10 years, and they are substantial. Every autonomous vehicle company on Earth is currently solving a version of the same problem that quantum navigation solves for the military. How do you navigate with high accuracy in environments where GPS is unreliable? Urban canyons block GPS signals. Underground environments have no GPS access. Warehouses, airports, and dense urban environments have GPS multipath interference that degrades positioning accuracy. The same quantum inertial navigation technology that gives a fighter aircraft navigation when GPS is jammed gives a self-driving vehicle navigation when it enters a tunnel, a warehouse, or a downtown canyon. NASA and the United States Geological Survey are already exploring Q-Ketrel's mobile quantum sensors for subsurface mapping, mineral prospecting, and GPS-denied navigation, applications that span defense, energy exploration, and geophysical research. The Airbus Aerospace Company is actively pursuing quantum magnetic navigation technologies for commercial aviation. When military technology has a direct commercial equivalent with a large addressable market, the dynamic between defense development and commercial development reverses. Rather than technology flowing from defense research to commercial application, commercial investment begins to accelerate defense capability. The quantum navigation market is entering exactly that dynamic. Like and subscribe, because this is the moment quantum sensing transitions from a classified defense priority to an engine of commercial disruption that will eventually affect every industry that depends on precise positioning. Michael Bierkoch, Q-Ketrel's founder, has been careful to describe quantum navigation as a complement to GPS rather than a replacement. He is right, technically. The two systems are designed to work together, with GPS providing absolute position reference when available, and the quantum system maintaining precision when GPS is denied or degraded. But the strategic implication of that complement is a military capability that cannot be jammed away. The current American GPS dependency is not a design flaw. It was a rational choice made when no alternative offered comparable precision at any cost. The quantum alternative now exists. It has been validated in operational environments. DARPA is funding its hardening. Lockheed Martin is partnered in its integration, and the President of the United States has ordered it fielded by 2028. The breakthrough the Pentagon is watching is not a laboratory curiosity that might eventually become relevant to defense applications. It is a navigation revolution that has already demonstrated 111 times better accuracy than the system it augments in real ocean conditions, on a real naval vessel being evaluated by the navies and defense establishments of multiple allied nations simultaneously. The physics has been proven. The software ruggedization has been demonstrated. The operational testing has begun. What comes next is integration, hardening, and fielding, and the Pentagon has decided that this happens in 2 years, not 10. Like and subscribe, because by 2028, American forces will navigate through GPS-denied environments with quantum precision, and every adversary strategy that depends on satellite jamming to blind American weapon systems will have been made obsolete. There's a final dimension of this story that connects the quantum navigation breakthrough to the broader strategic competition described throughout this video, and it matters because it explains why the Pentagon is not merely watching this breakthrough. It is racing to own it before the competition does. CSIS noted in its November 2025 analysis that America faces this challenge with fragmented investments and no coherent vision, with researchers at DARPA across the military services and national laboratories, universities, and industry chasing breakthroughs without a unifying national strategy. That fragmentation is the gap that the 2026 executive orders and the DARPA ROQS program are designed to close. The Quantum Counterintelligence Protection Team has been given expanded authority specifically to protect quantum navigation research from foreign espionage, because the intellectual property that enables Ironstone Opal's 111 times performance advantage is exactly the category of technology that adversary intelligence services are actively targeting. China's 2025 Worldwide Threat Assessment noted investments in quantum magnetometers and inertial navigation specifically because China's military planners understand that the country which operationalizes quantum sensing First does not just gain a navigation advantage. It gains the ability to see what was previously invisible, to find what was previously unfindable, to target what was previously untargetable. That is not an incremental capability improvement. That is a restructuring of the military balance at the most fundamental level. Like and subscribe, because the Pentagon is watching this quantum breakthrough for exactly that reason. Not because it is impressive. Science. Because it is the technology that decides who can hide and who cannot. And in the era of quantum sensing, the answer to that question determines the outcome of every conflict that follows. The ROQS program that DARPA built around QCTRL and Lockheed Martin is the demand signal that the defense and commercial quantum sensing ecosystem has needed. When DARPA commits $24.4 million and attaches Lockheed Martin to a program, every defense contractor in the country recalibrates its quantum sensing investment. When the President of the United States signs an executive order mandating that the Pentagon field quantum sensors in 2 years, every quantum startup with sensing technology on its roadmap accelerates its timeline. When the Defense Science Board declares quantum sensing poised for mission use, every procurement officer who has been waiting for official validation has their answer. The breakthrough is real. The fielding deadline is real. The adversary program is real. And the system that demonstrated 111 times better accuracy than the best classical alternative on a naval vessel in the ocean with real turbulence and real electromagnetic interference, that system is being hardened right now, integrated right now, tested right now under a contract and from the most demanding technology development organization in the history of the United States government. That is why the Pentagon is watching this quantum breakthrough. And now, so are you. Like and subscribe, because the next 2 years of quantum sensing deployment are going to rewrite the geometry of military power in ways that most of the world will not see coming until it has already happened.